everyone. Welcome to the Lawrence County Animal Hour. I'm Leanne Pettis with Friends of Lawrence County Animals. Hey Norman, we are so excited that you're joining us today. And we also have an esteemed guest with us, Commission Chair. Oh, are you looking? Are you looking? I love how Shane. No, I think that's great. We have Commission Chair Shane Eaton, who also chairs the Animal Welfare Committee of Lawrence County. So the purpose of I guess the topic of our program today is the Lawrence County Animal Welfare Committee, and what does it do? Why was it formed? And what's its purpose? But before we go into that, we have a few other guests that I want to introduce. Of course, Ginger Morgan, who's manager of the Doggie House, the Lawrenceburg Animal Shelter, which also serves Lawrence County. And I also have Taylor, I want to say Taylor Keaton, but it's Taylor Jeffries with Friends of Lawrence County Animals. And then we have two wonderful guests. Ginger, do you want to tell me about both of them?
Sure. I don't know if anybody can see me, but my favorite is this is Wayne. He's about 5 years old. He loves to play, and as you can tell, he loves to snuggle.
I know, buddy.
So, anybody looking for a snuggler, we've got Wayne. He gets along with children, as I've recently found out, and he does like other dogs, but you need to slowly let him meet your dogs if you have others. And he loves to play. And did I say snuggle? Did I say snuggle? So if you have a recliner, a favorite chair, or even the couch, he's there. He is all there for you.
And
there is Norman, and I'm going to let Taylor tell you all about Norman.
This is Norman. He, what we think he is a German Shepherd, maybe a Lab mix. His fur is pretty fluffy. He just had a bath. He's about 4 years old. He loves to lay and chew any kind of chew toy. We had him at our last adoption event, and I think he chewed for the full 3 hours, like calmly chewed, just laid on the grass and chewed. He took treats out of my hand gently, so that's good. I don't think he's going to be like food aggressive or anything.
Norman is so well behaved, and he's been at the shelter for a really long time too.
They both have. They've both
Yes.
been at the shelter since at least I've been there, and I want to say probably sometime in the middle of 2023 that they came to the shelter.
Baby.
So
And
they're
look
ready
at
to go
these.
home.
They're ready to
Yes.
go home. Look at those sweet faces.
babies.
Norman, you were one of the cutest things. And Wayne, you are bending like the flexibility is unbelievable.
I wish.
I wish. No, it's just incredible. So I want to circle back. And of course, if you have a home, have space with your family, please call about Norman or Wayne. And Ginger, do you have that telephone number?
Yes, I do. 244-0265. Now, my radio voice, please call 244-0265.
And make sure you ask about Norman or Wayne.
Or Wayne.
Yes, or Wayne. Two adorable boys. So now I want to circle back to Commissioner Eaton. Of course, we call him Shane. Is that okay, Shane?
Yes, ma'am. That's Shane. It's just fine.
Oh, wonderful. So can you, before I get started, I do want to tell this. We so appreciate Shane's involvement in the development of the shelter. Remember, how long ago was it when Friends of Lawrence County Animals came and made a presentation
Can't remember.
to the commission?
It's been a while.
It's been about 2 or 3 years ago. And we made a presentation. I remember our organization.
It might have been 2018 or longer. It might have been around in there.
Oh, well, might have been. So
It was before COVID, so it was before
it was
2020.
it was right before
Yeah,
COVID, so
yeah.
it was 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
So we did our research and found out, which counties in Middle Tennessee had shelters, which counties at the present time did not have an animal shelter. And we had roughly about 5 or 10 minutes to present to the commission. And at the end of our presentation, I remember everyone being so gratified that Commissioner Eaton made the ruling or the motion to form an animal welfare committee for Lawrence County, the first time it has ever happened in the history of Lawrence County, to further talk about and open a dialogue with the community on what needed to be done to reduce the number of unwanted animals within Lawrence County. So, Shane, do you want to elaborate a little bit of that, and what prompted you to do that?
Well, actually, I mean, Chris Jackson was the one that really had the idea back when he was a commissioner. He got with T.R. Williams, who was the county executive at the time, and just decided, hey, we need to do something about our animals in Lawrence County and do better for them and try to help get the spay and neuter program going, help try to get a better shelter. We had a shelter at the time at the city of Lawrenceburg, but we needed a better one. And you and Volker came along and said, hey, we want to help with that. And, you know, when you sit there and listen to that presentation and you just go, wow, we really need that, you know. And so it's not hard to go, I want to be a part of that, you know. And so that's the reason I jumped on board with this. I think it's a great thing. I mean, we were dedicated. We're now we still are able to have this committee. Myself as the chair, Commissioner Tammy Wisdom is on it. Commissioner Dave Ray, Commissioner Tim Clifton, and Commissioner Steve Hagan. And we just, you know, just enjoyed listening to the people about how much they care about animals in Lawrence County, and I think that's just a great thing.
People are very passionate about animals.
Yes, ma'am, they are. And there's so many sides to animal rescue, animal shelter, and I honestly didn't know there's a difference between shelter and rescue until I got on this committee. So it's very interesting to hear the differences, and both sides are great if you do them right.
Absolutely.
I totally agree, you know.
Absolutely. And of course, Friends of Lawrence County Animals is not a rescue and not a shelter. We're kind of an anomaly, but we consider ourselves a very proactive organization, looking at challenges and then trying to find solutions to these long-term challenges. For example, we raise funds for the shelter. We have another fundraiser coming up. We also, and thanks again to the Animal Welfare Committee and to the Lawrence County Commission, we have funding for our program called Lawrence County SNPs, which is Spay Neuter Solution. And our neighbors throughout Middle Tennessee are quite envious because we have a very proactive county who decided that they too wanted to look at a long-term solution regarding spay neuter, and eventually that's going to trickle down and help you, Ginger, at the shelter.
Exactly.
You want to elaborate a little bit, Ginger, on that?
Yeah, you know, it takes, I want to say it's 3 to 5 years to really realize the efforts of all the spaying and neutering, but you know, sooner or later, and I can't remember how many, was it 800 and something you guys did last year?
No, it was around 750.
Okay.
750 we did last year. I think overall the program we're over 1,000.
And that's for dogs and cats.
Correct.
So, I mean, if you just think let's just take the dogs that we have at the shelter that recently gave birth. They came to us, and one of them we didn't even know was pregnant, but she was. And so, you know, had they been spayed, we wouldn't have 15 puppies that in 6 weeks are going to need homes.
Yes.
So, you know, and then if those puppies aren't spayed or neutered, which they will be, then how many each one of those could have either given birth to or fathered another, you know,
That was not
person.
That was Norman.
My dog does that all the time. You know, and I'm like, wow.
Norman.
I'm trying to figure out what he is.
I'm sorry,
He burped.
Ginger.
Norman just burped. He's good there.
See, I just had I made a little noise
Our
there.
viewers didn't
It's
know this
okay.
was a comedy show.
Yes, it is.
Well,
It
you know,
is.
when you have the dogs, it's always a comedy.
It is.
I don't know when I guess really Amira was, you know, she was still, and although she did,
She gave hugs.
yeah, she gave
She gave
hugs.
hugs.
Oh, okay.
Hey, and Amira found a home. Do you want to talk about that?
You can. I'm trying to wrestle Wayne.
So I know a little bit more about Amira. Amira, who was here the last time we did the show, she was such a lover. She was a hugger and just a snuggle bug, wasn't she?
She was.
And so there was a couple that we met at Tractor Supply. And as within many families, one wanted to adopt and the other one wanted to wait. They had just lost their pet, and they were looking. Hopefully, they wanted to adopt in the future. So they looked at Sugar, who I believe your mom ended up
Yes,
adopting, and but they were still thinking about it and wanted to, make sure the time was right. And lo and behold, I think after seeing Amira, yeah, Amira went home and could not find a greater family. So we're really excited about that. So I wanted to wrap back around to Shane, and I know that during your meetings with the Lawrence County Animal Welfare Committee, you usually receive a report from Ginger or Dick McKinley, who's the city manager, and that you go over all the numbers with the shelter, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to elaborate on what are some of the other things that go on in the meeting?
Sure. So, I mean, they're public meetings, of course, and we do ask, we get FOCA to come in and give us a report on the spay and neuter program
Yes.
and any other ideas that they can. We've had, we want rescue organizations. We've had rescue organizations come, and Care for Critters came, and they want to come again and speak on their program and what they do. And so that's really great to have, Miss Ginger come in and talk about the shelter. And that just gives everybody an idea of what's going on and where the taxpayer money is going, And so, of course, Care for Critters doesn't get taxpayer money, but it just gives us all a good idea of what the people in Lawrence County are doing to help animals.
Absolutely. And I will say this, there are a lot of rescues out in the area which do very important work. There are not only in Lawrence County, but in neighboring counties and also Middle Tennessee. And so many of the rescues actually will come in and take some of the dogs, that are not being adopted. They transport them to other areas and find them good homes. So, everybody has their part.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And it's so wonderful to work with organizations who are organized, who are purpose driven, and really have the animals, at heart.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We can't do it by ourselves. I mean, it's a team effort to work with animals. There's no way around that. And
It definitely takes a village.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Some of our goals for our committee, we want to educate the public on more responsible pet ownership. We want
Yes.
to talk about that. We want to talk about, we feel the spay and neuter program is a very important program, so that's the reason we try to fund it as best we can. Next month is Animal Shelter Animal Awareness Month.
Yes,
So I just
yes.
wanted to mention that, May is. So, definitely come out and adopt these two dogs. They're great dogs, it looks like, and I, definitely want them. So, and we want to continue our support with the city to help the animal shelter. When you came to us and said, hey, we want to improve that, because I had been down there before to the old shelter, and I was like, man, that would be a great, and it's great. It's really a lot better than what it was. I think we can expand on it. I hope we can. I want to see it expand. Of course, the more we expand, we'll probably get more dogs, probably. So, it's kind of like,
Expand now to house the ones that we
yes,
have.
ma'am. And so.
Well, let me say this. I have talked with other organizations, and when you open a new shelter in a community, a county, for the first time, there is going to be some overflow. And we talk, obviously, and we're going through, yes, a real challenging period. Not to mention that shelters who have been in existence for a number of years, hey, buddy, are full as well. So everybody is always full. And we talk about rescues. But in all honesty, it takes everybody. It's almost like, because some of the rescues are usually 2 or 3 people that, do a lot of work. So it really takes the entire community. If they find a dog, to perhaps find its owner. Now, one of the good things, and again, we are all about solutions. Volca has just purchased a microchip reader. And so that will be placed at the police department coming up very soon. So people, if they do find a dog, they're going to be able to drive up, swipe, and see who that dog, if he's microchipped, where's his owner, and make that connection. So once again, it's going to be, all of us are going to have to be involved until we get to the place to where everything is highly functioning, which I don't know that it ever is in the animal world, right?
We function as high as we've
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if that's at 100 or 90 or whatever, it is at the speed that we're going, but we do our best to love on all of them and
Absolutely.
play with them.
Definitely.
Well, you can tell right now. And of course, if anybody, and I invite you once again to look at that 2-hour show with our partner, WLX, showed Ginger Morgan actually talked for almost 2 hours and highlighted around 50 dogs and told each and every one of them, told the community something about each and every one of them, and basically gave them all hugs and kisses. Right, Ginger?
I did. We need to do that again. Yeah. I tell you what, Wayne is ready to go.
I think we mentioned something about doing it in the fall. And that also brings me back around. I really want to thank our sponsors. First and foremost, WLX, Cry Like Realtors with Tiffany Cope, Story and Lee, Lawrenceburg Eye Vision, Eye Care with Dr. Jason Fort, and Middle Tennessee Hearing Services. We cannot thank them enough. If you do see them, please thank them on our behalf. It allows us to talk about what's going on in the animal world with Lawrence County and also highlight some of our shelter animals.
You're going to get my dog mad at me. He's going to think I'm cheating on him.
You could just take me home. Let me meet your dog.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Commissioner, we tried something different recently, and we had a lot of success, and maybe Ginger can speak a little bit about that, and that was the Easter egg hunt.
It was, I guess I sort of strategically placed us at the United Church Easter egg hunt. There you go. Maybe we should just pat the box. And with nice puppies and some older dogs. Norman was there. Wayne was not. And that day, I believe we adopted out 5 dogs at that event, and then we adopted out 2 or 3 more later that afternoon at the shelter, and then we had somebody come out and pick out one of those puppies that I was talking to you about. So they have to wait, for about another 5 or 6 weeks, but they have already picked one of them out.
So
That's great.
It was a great day, and we're having an adoption event again this Saturday at Tractor Supply, and we love our partner at Tractor Supply because they always open their doors and they love to have us there. But this was something additional. So if you are having a family or church event that is drawing a lot of people, please reach out to us. We would love to be there with our volunteers. Ginger, correct? And
yes, we would love to be there.
With maybe 2 or 3 dogs, and maybe, we can find the right family that just happens upon the dog, and it would be a perfect fit. So if you're interested in having us come out, please give Ginger a call. Would you like to give your number again, Ginger?
244-0265. That's 244-0265.
I've memorized it at this point too
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
I'm going 244.
So there are also sporting events too that I think would be pretty cool.
I
you
don't
know,
really
with everybody
think-
coming out.
Is this the way? Okay,
Wayne is,
sucking
yes.
up to the
Yes, Wayne is
see
sucking
it.
up to the
Yes, I see.
commissioner.
He says, "Help us, help us."
Yes.
You're not getting in his life. No. You can be
Yes,
in
my
life.
dog will definitely be. He'll be smelling all
No,
over me.
we
What's
are,
that smell?
At the adoption event on Saturday, we're going to have some healer. They're older puppies, and I think we may actually have the parents there that are up for adoption as well. They originally came to us in a cruelty case, and we won that case, and now they're up for adoption. And I would really like to see them go because those puppies have been there for a long time, since last October.
Okay.
Goodness.
Yeah. And, you know, we have had some dogs that have been there for a long time. And we have a lot of black dogs.
We do have a lot of black dogs, which I'm glad you mentioned. We are having Black Dog Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, and I don't know what that date is. I want to say it's
The 4th? Is that May 4th?
the 2nd. The 4th is on Sunday.
Oh, so it's the
And so I guess it's the 2nd. And so we would love for you to come out. It's a Friday. You know, typically we close about 3:30 or 4, but I'm going to be there until 7 o'clock, so you can, you know, get off work, get yourself something to eat, maybe, or bring the dog some snacks to see which one likes you and your snacks best, and adopt a black dog. It's a black dog syndrome for some reason. They just don't, you can't see their expressions as well. Their eyes blend in. You know, when you take pictures a lot of times of black dogs, unless you had the sun right or the lighting right, that you can't really see any of the expressions or features in their face.
Right. Well, their irises on all dogs are so large.
Right.
And so it is very hard because there's not necessarily a contrast there. You really have to see them in person to know you are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous.
his brindle color.
And we have all, I've had black dogs. In fact, the majority of my dogs have been black.
Mine too.
My dog's black.
Your dog is black. Yes, because there's
I have
so
a schnauzer. She's black.
because there's so many of them.
Yep.
And we do have an abundance, right, Ginger,
We
at
do.
the shelter.
And I don't understand too, because black labs are like one of the #1 dogs ever. And here we have all these, and we have some black smaller puppies. Now they're probably going to be lab size when they grow up, but at this point they're about maybe 3 months old, so they're not really big now, but just at the point where you can adopt them and train them and get them socialized. It's a perfect time to adopt them.
Oh, absolutely. And so we have the adoption event at Tractor Supply. And do you know what the hours are?
I think it's 9:30 to
12:30.
12:30.
9:30 to 12:30.
Yes, we're trying to keep those hours consistent throughout the year with the adoption events. I find people like to know the hours, you know, and
Yeah.
stay consistent. So 9:30 to 12:30.
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. So you'll be there with bells on. Shane, would you like to talk about some of the issues that are currently facing Lawrence County? Maybe some of them might have to do with animals and.
So yeah, I'd be glad to. So as far as the animals, I mean, of course, you know, we got strays and stray animals and stuff like that. Of course, every county does. I think we only got the one shelter, but it's a great shelter, but we only got one. And
Yes.
so, you know, we could definitely expand on that, and if we can. Of course, you got your animal cruelty and neglect, so we need to try to advocate to. I think what I'd like to do is get my committee to advocate for stricter laws on animal cruelty and
Absolutely.
neglect, you know. And some people do it, they don't mean to be neglectful. You know,
Right.
there's some people are so passionate about animals, they just bring them in and then they get overwhelmed with animals
Yes.
and they can't feed them, they can't take care of them, and
Yes.
they're really just trying to be nice or be helpful, but they get overwhelmed, and so, you know, we need to try to help those people. But the ones that go out and breed dogs and they're doing it and then just don't take care of them at the time, we need to have stricter law on that, I think.
And you know, we had the
Take care
DA's
of that.
office out here to discuss the laws that are currently in place for animal cruelty and neglect. We also had Sheriff John Myers on the program that talked about it, and he has zero tolerance for something like that. But we do find, and this is many cases who we work with our spay-neuter program, are people exactly what you said, that many people find, a stray will come up to their house, they take, feed them, and because they're not fixed, then they have puppies or kittens, and then they have puppies, and it's very hard. That's why Lawrence County SNPs is so important, and we are reaching the right people. Those people, many of them are seniors who really need the assistance and to hopefully correct the problem before it becomes an even bigger problem.
I agree 100%. And that kind of goes to the question I've been asked all the time. Why do we need an animal welfare committee on the commission, And, animal issues have repercussions through the whole community. It's not just about the dogs and cats that we have, but it affects public health through they can spread disease and stuff like that. So we need to, or if they get in a car accident or they run out in traffic and they cause accidents, people don't want to hit a dog or a cat, and then they'll wreck into somebody else, So, and the longer we don't focus on it, the more money it's going to cost in the long run.
Absolutely.
So if we do it now and we try to manage it now, it costs less money now than when it would later. And so, and educating people on how to be a responsible pet owner, I think that's a big thing that we need to do, because I'm pretty sure you've seen it in your time, in your tenure as at Christmas, people they want to adopt a dog or something, and then all of a sudden they get it home, and then they're like, well, I really don't know if I really want it, And so I don't know if y'all do that or not, but if we could offer classes to people and say, before they adopt a dog, do you really want this? This is what it's going to take.
Yeah, I would love to give out some more education on what it is to bring a puppy home, the Christmas puppy, or the Christmas kitten. They're puppies and kittens.
Or the Easter rabbit.
Exactly, the Easter bunny, right.
Yeah.
Chickens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're doing, and Ginger, I believe you were out of town that particular day, but we read to over 625 students at Summertown Elementary. And so Volca has started, along with our partner Casa Paws, because we're doing the doggy do's and don'ts. We have a committee now that is going into every elementary school in Lawrence County and reading the book, teaching them responsible pet ownership. And so that is just a great place to start. And let me tell you, no one loves animals like kiddos. And we found that there are some really responsible ones out there. They let their parents know when the water bowl's empty. They let their parents know that it's time for feeding. So they are being, great. Having a pet really completes a family in so many cases. But you're exactly right. Everybody has to be on board, and they have to know about the responsibilities that go along with having a pet.
And the parents need to understand that, a lot, like somebody recently adopted a dog from us and then brought it back about a week later because she said she thought that she could teach her children responsibility and they would take care of the dog. Well, that's not going to happen unless maybe they're 11, 12, 13. Once they get to be a teenager, they're doing stuff with their friends. Before that, they don't have enough attention span unless you're onto them constantly to do that. I'm from Memphis, and they used to bring the dogs back to us thinking that the child is going to be responsible. And I think give them one thing maybe to do. You fill the water bucket every day.
Right.
So the water needs to be filled every day, but it's not like it has to be, like the dog needs to be let out 3 or 4 times a day, or the dog needs to be fed twice a day. It's one thing once a day that the children could be responsible for.
Yes.
And I think too, giving children time, just like how me and Ginger had talked about so many times about shelter dogs being introduced to other family dogs, it takes time.
Yes,
And
everything
so
takes.
everything takes time. And, you know, you said a week, and I'm thinking, just give them a little longer, you know. And like my mom with Sugar, you know, it took her and Lily Mae and Otis meeting for about 3 weeks
Right.
until they all got, you know, now they play in the backyard. So just time. And I want Ginger to write a book on how to introduce your shelter dog to your
Oh,
family dog.
I agree with that 100%. And I think people need to understand behavior of animals. You know, sometimes if a dog is barking, not necessarily doesn't mean he's mean or they're mean. You know, you got to look at the signs. Why are they barking? What's going on? You know, are their tail wagging? Is their ears laid back or their ears up? You know,
And how their tail is
Right,
wagging.
right.
Because if it's wide like this, you're okay. But if it's
Yeah.
more like this,
yes,
you're in
yes,
trouble.
right. And so I think a lot of people see some dogs as not being, they're being mean, and they call the police to come and
Right, yeah.
take care of that
Yeah.
because I think it's a dangerous dog, and it's really not.
Right.
You
Or
know,
if you have a great Pyrenees, you just know that somebody, you know, some child eat 3 miles away, and the Great Pyrenees is just going to bark about it. Because
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
right.
my blue tick is just food aggressive. She just is. She's not an aggressive dog, but you don't touch her food. So my 2-year-old does not touch Katie Mae's food. And it's just, Katie Mae's a sweet dog. I mean, he can go out and pet her, and she's not aggressive, but don't touch her food. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
And like you said, the people, we have to learn that is when we adopt a dog or people adopt a dog, the kids have to learn too that
Absolutely.
animals have boundaries. I mean,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and it's sometimes it doesn't go very well, and I hate that because most time the animals aren't. It's not only the animal's fault. You know,
Right,
it's
you know,
not knowing.
I was talking to somebody recently, and I don't even remember who it was. It could have been anybody sitting here. But for me, I don't have children. But if I had children.
You got two Great Pyrenees. That's
Well,
right.
well, I have
Yes.
4-legged children. So, yeah.
About
thank
as
goodness
expensive as kids, aren't they?
There's not much difference.
I feel like I put them through private
Yeah.
grade school anyway.
My wife says I spend about $100 a week on treats for my dog.
Yeah, I would never leave a child unattended with a dog. Even
No.
even my Great Pyrenees, or even I had a therapy dog who played with the children at St. Jude and the Ronald McDonald House. But I wouldn't turn my back on him ever, because you don't know what a child is going to do and how the dog is going to react, because they are dogs and they are children. I know somebody called me up one time and said, "Can you train my 18-month-old child to get along with my dog?" And I'm like, I don't do babies. I don't do babies. I know nothing about birth and no babies.
But
And even a trained dog can have
Right.
a bad day.
Yeah, they can not feel well, or
and that's what we teach with Doggy Do's and Don'ts. The wonderful book is that children also, once they become in elementary school, can recognize, when they see a dog, what if a dog is scared or anything, and ask the owner, is it okay if I pet the dog? So they go through the right ways to approach a dog, that's not theirs. But once again, having a dog as part of your family is one of the most rewarding things that you can possibly
Right.
do.
Yes.
I don't
So-
know what I would do without. Well, I have 4, but I don't know what I would do without them. But one of the things, it's not just children who need to ask if they can pet your dog; it's adults.
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely.
As well.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
seen. I had a dog that was a little. I would say she was reactive to people who touched her that she did not know. She never bit anybody, but I tried to control her environment. But I did take her out to walks and parks and things like that, and I was just trying to keep people from touching her. Trying to make myself big, I guess, around my 50-pound dog. I wasn't always
Successful.
successful with that, because
Yeah.
some people did, and she'd just jump up and look at him, and they're like, "Ooh, she almost bit me." I'm like, No, she didn't almost bite me. I was like, oh, the
Yes.
microphone has a mind of its own.
Oh,
It's just moving.
Well, and I will say personally, from having a child, we've always had dogs in the house even before Jaden. But when I was 9 months pregnant with Jaden, we got a little Boston Terrier. We rescued the little Boston Terrier from the road. But my son's name is Jaden Maverick, and I named the dog Goose. So if y'all anybody knows Top Gun, and they're gonna grow up together just because Goose was a puppy, and it's so rewarding, and just to hear Jaden now talk, where's Goose? It's good. It's good for
yes.
kids.
Definitely.
You teach teamwork. You teach so many responsibilities by having a pet. And, every family's busy, every person's busy. But, as long as that dog is home, he's going to be happy. He's just going to be happy.
Is
Yeah.
there
Totally agree.
anywhere to purchase the doggy do's and don'ts for our viewers if they wanted to purchase it?
Yes, Doggy Do's, that's a great question, Taylor. Doggy Do's and Don'ts is available on Amazon. So you can go to Amazon, look it up, and purchase it. Volga also has purchased a book for every elementary school and also for the public libraries. So we're going to be making those rounds when we do read to the children and conduct, the educational session. We will be presenting that school library with the book and then go around during the summer reading program with the public libraries this summer and give them their book as well. So they'll be available at all libraries.
That's great. That's
So
great
you
to
booking my summer for me?
Yes.
If you're reading.
Yes. Didn't you know that, Ginger? You're used to it by now, right? Yes, I am, she says. Bless her heart. And you've been great about it, too. Very flexible. Tell us, Ginger, what else is going on? I understand that you attended a conference and got to meet a lot of different people.
I did. It was, I went to they've changed their name now. But anyway, it used to be Humane Society of the United States. They have an animal care expo every spring. And I was lucky enough to have a benefactor on that, so I was able to go. And I just connected with so many other people from different shelters, different rescue groups. As we keep saying over and over again, we have more dogs at the shelter really now than we can comfortably house. And I've connected with people who are going to help me get them out of the shelter and go to shelters in the north.
Yes.
And then you say, do the shelters in the north not have dogs? Well, they do, but it's not like here in the south.
Right.
They have a lot of more spay and neuter programs. The cities are larger, so they have, and every small city has a spay and neuter program. They have a lot of fences in the north. So even if their dog isn't spayed or neutered, it's in their yard and doesn't get out. So they don't have the stray population like a lot of cities and counties in the south do. So
and they many areas license their animals too, correct?
That's what I was fixing to ask. I think a lot of them do. They make you pay a license fee. Or
yeah, you have. Well, if you mean if you're a breeder or if just your
and an owner
Have to have a
too.
license,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to get rabies shots everywhere, so you have to have license. But don't we have aren't the rabies are?
You have a rabies, but in many cases up north, there are also license fees. Now, they may be minimal, but they help offset the cost of a community, taking care of many of their animals.
That's a good question. Because that was one of my notes on something was, okay, so does this county charge a fee for licensing?
We
No.
do not at the moment. We do not because we don't have anybody to enforce it. For one thing, how are we going to enforce that, and then where are you going to register that?
Right.
At, you can do it through the shelter. You can do all that. But if somebody just buys a dog, maybe you could get the buyer or the breeder to enforce it or to do it. But I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know how that works.
So,
We'll do our homework.
yeah,
We'll do our homework, and it's always good to see, not specifically licensing, but it's always good to see what other communities are doing. Sometimes it's applicable to Lawrence County, sometimes not. It just
True,
depends
true.
on,
Well, typically you
Trial
get
and
your
error.
license when you get your dog dog's rabies shot. That's how part of it goes for
Yeah.
the
Right,
shot,
right,
and part
right.
of it will go to the city or the county. I guess in Memphis it went to Shelby County. I don't think it was different from the city to the
My
county.
daughter, when she lived in Huntsville, they had 2 dogs and they had to pay a license fee when they like you just
Right,
did.
and it's
when they
not.
did the rabies, and it wasn't like it's like $10
Yeah, it wasn't. It
or
really.
$25. I don't know. It wasn't much, you know, but
Yeah, whatever the fee was, it was, of course it was different whether or not your dog is spayed or neutered.
Right.
And it was probably about $10 to $12 more per animal if your dog had not been altered.
yes,
So that
yes.
also over the lifetime
Oh, that
of
gives you
your,
an
And
incentive.
microchipped, I think, too. In Huntsville,
Yeah.
they had to be microchipped.
Oh, well,
And you know,
we need to talk about that.
Okay.
the,
Sure.
the nice
We'll
thing
bring it to the committee. And we'll
Yeah,
see.
okay, that'd be great.
the nice thing about it, hey, buddy, I know
Norman
you
wants
want to
in
be up here.
Leanne's lap
That's
so bad.
okay,
He's like
buddy.
imprinted on her.
I know, it's
They
okay.
all do.
They all do.
I think it's those earrings.
The
I think it's the
earrings.
earrings.
My earrings, buddy. He's such a sweetheart. So
They just know where they're comfortable.
they know where they're
Mhm.
comfortable, and that's
Definitely.
okay, Norman. I love you too. That is something to really think about. I mean, all things to think about on what to do about reducing the number of unwanted animals. And we have a lot of them in Lawrence County.
Yeah.
And like I said, we are fortunate. We do have people who do rescue, but it's going to be upon, they're usually, like I said, less than a handful of people to support an entire county. So
Right.
it really is going to take each and every one of us. If you
Oh, no
have
doubt.
room for one more in your family, maybe this is the time to do that. Anything that you could possibly do, volunteer, would be a great thing. But know that we are working very hard to get as many animals adopted
Yeah,
and
we are.
also transported and out of Lawrence County into homes in other areas.
Exactly.
That would
And we'll
really
have more
welcome
news
adopt.
about that in the coming weeks.
Yes, exciting
tuned.
news.
Another
Exciting
thing
news.
too that I had read earlier when I was researching some of this stuff, like if they own, I know we got we have somebody that sells pets, I think, in the city of Lawrenceburg, but they have to pay people who owns pet stores have to pay a yearly fee to
Right.
the city
Right.
to have a pet store. So might
Well,
be something else to look at
I
too.
think now.
Not trying to knock on the pets, I'm just
Right.
saying that just to make sure everything's going right.
I think now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I first got here, I started calling about people selling animals on the corners, and silly me. Anyway, the police department, they looked up the laws and everything for me, and they said that if it's, let's say, as long as I didn't get the dog from a breeder and I'm selling it like secondhand,
Right.
then I can sell it. So the breeder can actually sit on the corner and sell their dogs at CVS or Walgreens or
I
Walmart.
didn't know that.
Well, we're going to talk about that
Okay.
as well.
Sure. That'd be,
And I'm the one that pulls up to Walmart when this elderly lady she was giving away. She wasn't selling the cats. And I'm giving her the spay and neuter Gmail address. And I'm saying, and I figured out it was one of those neglect cases. It was one of her neighbors. And then all of a sudden these cats started multiplying. And I almost didn't stop, but I thought, we have this program. It's a wonderful program. And even if she says, no, I want to breed cats,
But she said she wanted to, and that's what we found with so many that you see are people who've had, puppies from strays in many cases. And if they know about our program and they need financial assistance, and I will give that number, 931-852-4907. Again, that's 931-852-4907. You can call and leave a message, and someone will call you back within 24 to 48 hours, and it will be a volunteer. So we also have a spay-neuter clinic coming up May the 19th. It's the Monday. And all the doggy slots are full. We're thrilled, both male and female, but we still have room for cats. So if you are interested in being a part, Norman, you've already been fixed, honey.
Yeah, you don't need to go.
If you're interested in being a part of the clinic, you can email, and the email address is Lawrence County Snips, SNIPS, @gmail.com. And one of our volunteers, our coordinator, will get back to you as soon as possible, ask you a few questions. And this time, our pickup and drop off place is going to be in Summertown. Normally, our clinics we have at Rotary Park. But beginning next year, we're going to take it on the road. We've done the north end of the county for this clinic. And then next year, we plan to also go down to the south part of the county to make it more convenient for people in that area. So we're really excited about it and can't wait to share more news about that in the next fiscal year, hopefully.
Well,
We made our presentation to the commission to ask for money again, funding. And then in addition to that, we're also going to be looking at grants as well to supplement that, because this is an incredible program and a lot of people are really excited about it and it's very much needed. So we want to grow it as much as we can, and we could not have made this happen if not for the Lawrence County Commission and specifically the Animal Welfare Committee. So thank you, Commissioner Eden.
Oh, thank y'all. We couldn't do it without you and the people of Lawrence County, because if we didn't know about it, we couldn't make a decision. And so that's what it's about, listening to the people that come to you and say, hey, we got this issue. This is what we need. Let's see what we can do, you know. And so that's a big part of what I want to do. I want to listen to what people have to say. And, you know,
that's great. You do a great job.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to do, you know, we talked about what's coming up. I would love to see more dog parks. I've had more people say that they'd like to have another dog, you know, and nothing wrong with the dog park we have.
Right. And more people are using
I think more people want more of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. And that's a great thing. I do know that there are some organizations, even other than FOLCA, are looking at adding a dog park within the city of Lawrenceburg, which is great. And they have asked FOLCA to partner with them on, you know, perhaps even another microchip machine reader. We can do several things to work with them on it. The wonderful thing about being a part of FOLCA is that we have so many partners, and they are great partners. I mean, they are great partners.
It's our village.
Yes, it's our village. We have partners within Lawrence County, other organizations, and we also partner within Middle Tennessee and have some really strong partners. People for Animals, CASA, to name a couple. We work very closely with the Murray County Shelter, with the Lincoln County Humane Society.
NHS is where we got the microchip.
Absolutely. We are so fortunate that there's so many strong, purpose-driven, professional organizations that are now out there who are all thinking the same things and wanting to take care of animals. So that's a good thing.
Yes. Totally agree.
So
Great
is there
stuff.
anything else that we want to add? Ginger, you're going to love this.
Did you bring your wish list this time, Miss Ginger? I asked you about what you needed
oh,
the last committee meeting, but
well, let's see. I can, you know, my wish list is right here.
You've got the Amazon list.
So, well, some things that
anything that people could donate to the shelter.
yes.
That you want.
As a matter of fact, I think people may or may not have seen my my post about the treats and how the dogs are getting really nervous because our treat shelf is kind of empty.
Look at Norman right now. He knows. He's already
I know he is like,
shaking.
I know exactly what she's talking about.
Oh yeah.
And
He had treats.
Yeah, he did.
and the dogs at the shelter, when they get nervous, I'm just gonna put it out there. They just and they see that shelf empty, they all start passing gas. So I'm just saying,
It's not a good, easy way to
it's
say
not
that.
a great smell at the shelter anyway. But when you've got 50 dogs passing that almost empty shelf every day, it's not a good thing. Let me just tell you, it gets a little teary-eyed out there sometimes.
Yeah.
So what can they do if they want to donate treats?
They can bring them to us at 815 Gaither. You can also order them online at Walmart or Sam's or, any place like that, and just have them delivered if you don't want to come out there or you don't want to go shopping. I mean, I don't know who doesn't want to go to Walmart every day, but or Sam's, but you can do that. We can also use any like copy paper, paper towels, toilet paper, laundry detergent, because we do a lot of laundry. Oh, hey, and not only that, but big on my wish list, our dryer is going out.
Oh no!
And
I'm just now hearing about this.
well, I was hoping
acting up. Yes.
I was hoping that it would magically fix itself while I was gone.
Okay.
But before I left to go to that conference,
Lane says I'm back.
I had to hang. Sorry about that. I had to hang our clothes out on the railing. Not our clothes, but our dryer, all of our sheets and towels. Hold on, just a second. There we
So
go.
if anybody
Okay.
has, right now we are finalizing our money for a dishwasher. So,
Well, look at that. Okay, so next week.
yes.
Next
Yes,
week
that's
we
what
will
it
have
is.
a
We almost forgot.
donation-a-thon. A donation-a-thon.
I made up that word.
Okay, so
A donation-a-thon.
if it's not a real word, we made it up. Charlotte made it up. Be listening to Eddie's show on WLX, where we will take donations for a dishwasher for the Doggie House. And let me tell you something, we need a dishwasher more than we need a dryer, because I can put those blankets and towels out on our railing out there. It looks a little country, but you know
That's
what? They
okay.
dry. I'll
Hey,
tell
I
you
do
what.
it.
I put those little fleece blankets out there, and they were dry within like
Yes.
30 minutes.
Yes.
That
With
fresh
wind,
air.
it's
Yeah, fresh
effective.
air.
Well,
Yeah.
and they smell great. So your money needs to go to the dishwasher. Don't worry about my dryer. I'll figure it out.
So
you
one
know.
other thing I wanted to say, yes, we are going to hopefully wrap up the dishwasher campaign with the donation-a-thon next week. I love this.
Probably started a trend with
Okay, and I
donation.
didn't say it's April 29th, 5 p.m.
That is great.
So let me say that
everybody's
again.
like- yeah.
The donation-a-thon for the dishwasher, April 29th at 5 p.m., not a.m. And is there a phone number to call or? 762-6200 is the number. Write that down. 762-6200, April 29th, 5 p.m.
That is so exciting. And of course, we'll be there right there with getting all the donations.
Donations.
Absolutely. Oh, and prizes.
And donations
Our
will come
partner,
from you.
WLX,
Prizes.
is just kind of dropping little hints
Might
about
have some
next week. This
prizes.
is absolutely fabulous. We also want to add one more thing before we go. We are going to be having our second annual event, an evening with friends at Soulshine Farm. This will be September the 6th, and we are raising money for a new intake and quarantine center.
I am so excited about that.
Yes.
So excited.
Yes.
And so is Wayne. But
So,
Wayne, you're not going to be
Thanks
there.
to the community
You've already
and
been
the county
taken
and the
in.
city for everyone's donations for our large shelter building. But that was, phase one. And
Yeah.
there's still some things that we need to do in order to complete the campus. And the intake and quarantine center is one of those. And we're hoping to make that happen with our event coming up this fall. September the 6th, so please mark your calendars. Shane, before we leave, Commissioner, is there anything else that you would like to say or add before we sign off?
Please come adopt Wayne. He's very playful. You can see him very there. He's,
Oh, yeah.
no,
and Norman, too.
And Norman too. Norman's the calm one. So you,
Norman. Norman is the best. Oh,
Miss
and-
Leanne, I just want to say I appreciate you letting me come and speak with you and be on this amazing thing. I think it's great. Miss Ginger, you're doing great at the shelter. I want to say this: it has turned around since you've come here, and we really greatly appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much.
You know, the partnership between the county and the city is great, and we need to continue that.
Mm-hmm.
Folk, of course, is always doing a great job, and we greatly appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you.
And every other organization in Lawrence County, we appreciate everything that you do, and try to help out with our animals, and
Absolutely. And
you
it will
know,
take
we love-
all of us.
It will definitely take all of us, and no matter how, we just got to work together, and that's where it comes down to. And once again, it's a great thing. When you came to us, and we were just like, man, this is going to be so good. And you know, I was so glad that we were able to do that first 50. I think it's 55,000 that first time, 50,000.
Yes,
we were asking for.
50,000, absolutely.
And
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
that I got the ball rolling, and so you know, that's.
Just wait till next year.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
fine. You know, if we can do it, I think we should be able to do it. You know.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much. We thank our partners again. Can I say them, or are we cutting off?
We're going to say.
We're going to, thank you so much. WLX, Cry Like Realtors with Tiffany Cope. We also have the Middle Tennessee Hearing Center, Story and Lee, and Lawrenceburg Eye Care with Dr. Jason Fork. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.